Hello viewers, welcome to Eduvert lecture 3. Today we are going to learn about compiling process. Yes, day before the previous lecture, in lecture 2 we have learned about the basic structure of C programming, and in today's lecture 3 we are going to learn about how compiling process takes place in C program. So to say, how conversion of high level language or the program written in high level language is converted into machine level language. So let us start. Compiling process in C programming. We all know that computer understands only machine level language, that is in binary form of 0 and 1, that is machine code. Computer understands only machine code, it does not understand other language. So since we are writing the program in other language, that is high level language, C programming is a high level programming language where we use it or we write program, or it uses the English like words, mathematical symbols, as I have told in the previous lecture also. So it understands only machines, computer understands only machine language, so it needs to be converted. The program which is written in high level language needs to be converted into machine level language, and for that we use a software or a program called compiler. So as you can see here, okay, we use compiler. It is a language processor. Okay, this one a compiler, it is a language processor. Sorry. So we can see this is a compiler, is a language processor which converts the program written in high level language into machine level language. So we write the program in C compiler, that is called as the source code, and we compile it and we get the object code, and that could be run in the computer system. Then after we can see that compiler is a system program software which converts the program written in high level language into machine level language at a time. That means a whole program is converted into machine level language at a time, that means at once. Machine level language can be understood by the computer directly. So machine level language, which is the machine code in the form of binary code, that could be understood by the computer directly. So compiler collects and shows all errors, if any, present in the program after compilation. It means compiler, while during compiling process, it will check all the syntax, okay, and all the parameters, all the functions and all, and if there is any problem or any error found during compilation process, then it immediately stops and it shows all the errors. That means it compiles whole program at once, and after compiling, if any errors are found, all those errors are collected and it is shown to the user. Now C programming. So here we are discussing about C programming. So C programming also uses compiler for this type of conversion from high level language into machine level language. So compiler also, C programming also uses the compiler. Then after we could see here compiling process. That means we have understood about compiling, what is a compiler, how, okay, and what is the use of compiler, why it is used, okay, and then now we are going to see about the compiling process. That means how compiling process takes place, okay, in while compiling the programs written in C programming. So now let us see. First of all, we should let me try to make you understand about this compiling process through figure. Here we can see, okay, here is the source file. Let me see. Okay, so here is the source file. So this source file are the files which is written by the user. Okay, we write the program, actual program, okay, and then we give the file name followed by .c. That means .c is, let me tell you, .c is the extension of a file. That means extension is the name given to the file which determines the type of a file, what type of a file it is, and which program is needed to open that file. So these things could be determined by looking out or figuring out the extension of any file. So since C programming file name, whatever we store the file or whatever file we create using a C compiler, okay, that the program, the first very program which is called the source code is our source file and its extension is .c. Then after, compiler is used to compile the program written in high level language into machine level language that could be understood by the computer itself. So this figure, as the figure implies, source file, by using compiler it converts into object file, and through linker, okay, other object files and library files are linked, okay, with our object file, and it forms an executable file which could be run or execute in our computer system, which is in binary format. Now first step in compiling process, we could see, use any text editor like Notepad or write your source code and save the file with extension .c. So we can use any type of text editor, for example Notepad, WordPad, or Microsoft Word, or any other text editors to write our source code. That means the program that is written by the user, which could be understood by him properly, and we have to save that file with extension .c so that that program becomes a C program. For example, one example has been given, that is .c. So this is one example. So we can see here, this is the actual file name, and this after dot, this one is the extension. This one is extension of a file. So I hope you have understood. This is the file, this is the primary part, this is the secondary part. Primary part is the actual file name and secondary part is the extension of a file. So whenever you see .c, it's a C program file, C program source code. Then after, let us see second step. In compiling process, the second step is to compile the program using a compiler. If the compiler doesn't find any errors in the program, it produces an object file with .obj. So if it doesn't find any error in compilation process, it produces an object file with .obj extension. So here we can see in this figure, here is our obj file. So second step, compiler will convert, okay, our file, source file, into object file as the source code. For example, test.c compiles to test.obj. So test.c compiles to test.obj. So if the compiler finds errors, it reports them. So if compiler finds any error, then it reports all those errors to the user. So it will not create any object file. So if the compiler finds If the compiler finds errors, it reports them. After correcting again, compiling process is done. That means if compiler finds any error, then it will not form any object file, so it will show you all the error reports to the user, and after correcting those errors, then again user has to compile to the source file. Then if any error is not found again, then only object file will be created. Then after step 3, in step 3 you can see link the program using linker. Now this linker is a special type of program and it is a part of a compiler. It will link some other object files and some other library files which is needed in a program, which is required in a program. Okay, it links other object files and library files, and then it converts object file into executable file which could be ready to run or to execute in the computer system. So you can see links the program using linker. The linker produces an executable program with .exe extension and the same name as the object file. So for example, test.obj is linked to create test.exe. And then the fourth step is to execute or run the program. So these are the 4 steps for compiling process. Now let us see about the header files. Basically this stdio.h is the main header file, standard input output header file. It contains the function definition of input output functions. That means all the functions related to input output operations, those functions could be accessed through this header file stdio.h. It's a standard input output header file. So some examples have been mentioned: scanf, printf. These are some examples of the input output functions which could be accessed through stdio.h header file. Next header file is has include conio.h. That means console input output header file. So it's a header file which is included in the program. This is used to use the functions like clear screen, so that is clr for clearing the screen, get cs for getting any characters, or so to say to hold the output screen or to hold the console, etc. So these are some of the console input output functions which could be accessed through the header file called conio.h. Similarly, there is the next header file, very important header file, that is math.h. This header file is used for mathematical functions. That means for mathematical operations, okay, could be performed through this math.h header file. So some mathematical functions are also mentioned here. Example, POW for power, to calculate the power of any number or variable. Similarly, square root for sqrt, sine, tan, cos. So these are some trigonometric ratios. Okay, mathematical functions could be performed by using this math.h header file. Then there is the next one. It's a very important, this is also important header file, that is string.h. It is string header file. It is a string header file. It contains the function definition of string processing functions such as strlen, strcat, strcpy. Okay, so these are some of the string manipulation related functions which could be accessed through this string.h header file. So about these all we shall discuss in the upcoming chapters or upcoming lectures. So we shall discuss later on in detail. So it's just a fundamental idea to gain about the header files. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you like, please subscribe, and let's meet in the upcoming tutorial. Thank you.